Offensively, we have been scoring well, and I think a credit to our offensive staff, credit to our offensive players who are taking extra time to come in and make sure they understand who they're going against matchup wise, what the scheme is, and then the guy who's running the whole show is Gavin, and he has been stellar in how he has gotten us to the right protection, has gotten us to the right play, has made the right read once the ball is snapped, and has really kept the ball where only we can catch it numerous times. I thought he threw the ball extremely accurately last week, and it shows. And so, and then there are times when our receivers make a couple good catches as well. So it all kind of works together. And I think the chemistry between the receivers and tight ends and running backs, for that matter, has been growing and improving as the season's gone on. Gavin has just been taking what the defense gives him. It's a numbers game, and kind of throw the ball where they're not, or run the ball where they're not, type deal. And if we can continue to hold on to the football, the other thing that I think that's really happened over the last couple of weeks is a lot of patience. We're taking our shots, but we're happy with a 5 yard gain, and it's really much like an option team mentality where, if we can stay ahead of the chains, we're going to be in situations where it's third and medium, third and short, possibly fourth and short, and we'll have opportunities to go for it. I think we're pleased so far with their development. You always want them to learn faster, but the only way you can learn is to have them fail and then figure out what kind of footwork. I think Coach Clayton's done a great job getting them ready for the mental aspect of the game. And I think our guys don't get down when there's a mistake. He's really hard on them in practice, and what that translates to in games are never frazzled, And so obviously we can't get into first and 15, very often, because right now we just don't have the explosiveness to get through that. With that said, I think this week is going to be a huge challenge for them because we're presented with a number of defensive fronts as well as a number of blitzes, and they do a pretty good job of disguising it. So we're going to have to make some adjustments right after the ball snap to make sure we're on the right guy. When you're playing home here in Florida, one of our allies is the weather. And if we can continue, we feel that we're in really good condition. Coach Witeska and his staff have us in great condition. And so if we just keep making the other team play as fast as they can and generate more and more plays, the heat and humidity hopefully is our ally because we're used to it. The second thing that's happening is, you know, while Gav is making the reads, but defensively, if we're able to run the football as effectively as we have with the three running backs that we have, they're going to have to commit an extra body to the box to make sure that they have to stop the run. So when we're in one back, they got to get 7 in the box. When we're in two backs, they got to have to get 8. Well, if they're doing that, he's got to come from someplace, and it goes back to, again, throw where they're not. So the RPOs that we've been doing, Gavin's done a great job of seeing when a strong safety is trying to jump in and hitting that little hitch right behind it. Or he's also seen where safeties are coming down and we're hitting that post ball over the top of that. So, we're trying to make sure, we try to figure out exactly why they're stopping the play or who is the hardest person to block on a play, and then we have a pass player that we go to right there when we see that they're using that scheme to stop us. Yeah, and it really has been. And I'm really pleased that Jeff was an offensive lineman last year. We moved him in the spring, and then he worked extremely hard. He was here on campus doing research, but a lot of his research was in the weight room and changing his body weight, changing how he carries the weight that he has, and becoming more explosive. And I think one of the things that's a challenge is your temperament has to change. As an offensive lineman, you have to be very cerebral in your approach, where defensive line is more see ball, get ball. And many times at his position, he's making sure that the guards and the centers can't get off to get the linebacker so the linebacker can make the play. So it's a very selfless position. So think about this. Generally, at his position, you have 600 pounds coming at you, and you weigh about 3. And so it's a fist fight every time the ball snapped, and he's really adjusted well. And we pride ourselves in his third down and getting off the field. The interesting thing is, when it's third and 8 or more, we probably struggle with more of those situations than we have with the third and short and third and medium. And that's been a big emphasis for us this week. I think we're playing great team defense, and I think we're developing a trust among the players that I don't have to do anyone else's job but my own. And when you only have to focus on your responsibilities, it certainly makes your ability to play the position better. This week, we're going to see a team that uses a lot of motions, a lot of shifts, a lot of formations, trying to create mismatches, trying to create leverage or outnumber you. And then they run some options, some speed sweeps, some reverses, just to keep you honest. So you've got to be very disciplined in what you're doing, and it's easier to do that if you only have one job to do. I don't know, because if you look at it, our offensive production in all those games has been pretty good, and defensively they present you with a lot of problems, and so they've all been somewhat high scoring games. And when I'm saying high scoring, 25 points or more. And so, we would rather get into a game where our offense is controlling the football. Obviously, scoring 50 points would be great, but we're also realistic because the defenses we're going to face now are going to be better than what we faced in the past. Well, and he's got a great center of gravity, and he's a very tough kid, and he's fearless. And he does a lot of their punt returning and kick returning, and so he's very quick, makes great cuts. He understands leverage and will make the defender try to make the tackle going away from the direction that he's going, and that's hard to do. The other thing, he's real patient, and so he lets his line do what their schemes are, lets the linebackers flow over the top, and then cuts behind where they left, and just very reliable. And so, you know, the other thing that they do a great job of is the shifts and the motions and everything to try to get your defense out of position. And so far, this running back has been, I think Snyder's his name, has been great at getting to the holes and finding those so he can create, 4 and 5 yard gains out of 2 yard holes. The next two teams we play, Dayton and Butler this week, are very similar. They don't make mistakes. They don't beat themselves. They're always in place. They always understand their assignment. They're very disciplined, and they're tough, hard-nosed kids that they're never going to quit on you. And so, if you beat them, you've got to make sure that you beat them soundly, and you can't let them crawl back into the game. You can't take a play off, and that comes with great coaching. That comes with really good experience, and both those programs have it. Well, we don't know. Sam Brown started the first couple games, and then it appeared he had gotten hurt in their third game. Now, in the Princeton game, the last game they played before the bye week, he didn't play. And they rotated two other guys. And Nick Orlando, in particular, is a very good runner and adds that running dimension for their offense. But we're just going to have to wait to see who lines up behind the center. I don't know the nature of Brown's injury or why he was out, and so we'll just have to wait to see who shows up behind the center and then make adjustments by then. I mean, again, they're never out of place. They don't ask their kids to do things their skill level won't do, and they play a little conservative. They're bringing zone pressure, so they're not giving up the big play. They make you take it in short chunks, and really, I would say that their safety. Number 13 and their linebackers are the heart and soul of the defense, and the defense is set up to allow them to make plays. The safety will come in from the outside, adding that extra player to the box we spoke about earlier, and then the linebackers, they blitz them a lot. They bring them a lot of different ways. And the one that's unique is the cross linebacker blitz, where the linebacker will actually cross, confusing the offensive lineman and running back, and they do a good job, technique-wise, they do a good job of rushing the edge of the player. They don't ever get down the middle. They're always on the edge to make it as difficult as possible for the offensive player to block them. He's been remarkable, and I think one of the things that is good is he's not on the field much because our offense has been playing well. But when he's been on, he's totally changed field position in a couple of those games. The 69-yard punt that ends up inside the 8 and things like that. So if he can continue to do that, that just gives confidence to our defense because they've got 92 yards to defend rather than just 25. Well, first, we'd like to get out to a fast start. All the fundamental things that we talk about, turnovers, winning that deal, and winning the explosive play deal is crucial. For defense, we've got to be able to recognize all the different things they're doing and play assignment football. Again, don't worry, they're going to make a couple plays. Just come back and try to get them in long yardage situations. We need to make them one-dimensional and shut down their run game. Offensively, we can't beat ourselves. We've got to hang on to the football, as I said earlier. We can't get into 1st and 15 by making mental errors, and we've got to be able to adjust to the speed of where their blitzes and understand where they're getting the extra guy down in the box to stop our run game and then try to take advantage of that. Anytime we can draw attention to something that has been a major killer for ladies, that's good. Second thing is people don't know the family sacrifice as well as the change in lifestyle that people have to go through when they're battling disease. And in this case, our research has gotten cancer to the point where it's almost one of those manageable diseases as relative to a death sentence. And so while they're living with that, or while they're trying to get the cancer into remission, there's a lot of physical ailings that they have to go through. And so we respect that. We want to know that we support them. We want to know that we don't want to let this thing beat us, and give them hope that hopefully a cure will be down the road pretty quickly.